farmers reporting boxes of ticks. We see some reports of tick releases from aircraft. None of those can be fully verified yet. But we do know in the 1960s, the U.S. Army released over 200,000 ticks into the wild for biological weapon purposes to see how the ticks would spread. And about over 100,000 of them were Lone Star ticks. So the Army released it before. The bioethicists are calling for intentional release of them to better give humans alpha-gal syndrome. In that peer-reviewed paper, they call it morally obligatory to release GMO ticks into the wild. So that, in my opinion, is bioterrorism, just masquerading as bioethics. And Bill Gates is funding GMO ticks. He's literally funding them through a company called Flitter to make some sort of self-limiting cattle tick. And then the fourth component is the fake meat. They need to increase the sales of the fake meat. Gates funded lab-grown meat that won't contain alpha-gal through Upside Foods. They'll be able to engineer it to not contain it. Again, grown in a test tube. And then they'll also have Beyond Meat, all this soy-based garbage. So all of this combined indicates to us that something's going on, and there may be some bioterror-related activities resulting in the 10,000% rise in alpha-gal syndrome.
Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm going to bring you some more information about alpha-gal. I think this is really important, and I think you can protect yourself from this. Cedarwood oil. You can put that around your yard if you live close to woods, and it will not let the ticks live if they try to go across it. There are things you can do to avoid being put in a position where you can no longer eat meat or dairy again in your life. We're going to dig into it. I appreciate if you'd like, share, and subscribe. It costs nothing, and it's a tremendous boost to the channel. Okay, let me start here. I'm going to read you real quick what AI says about alpha-gal. Alpha-gal syndrome is a naturally occurring allergic condition, not man-made disease or bioengineered weapon. The condition is a naturally evolving biological response resulting from an interaction between human evolutionary biology and tick saliva. Evolutionary and biological foundations of the mutation. Millions of years ago, the ancestors of humans and other old world primates mutated and lost their ability to produce alpha-gal, a specific sugar molecule. Okay, as soon as I hear millions of years ago, you lost me. So that right there that I read is the official stance, and I think that that's BS. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter if this is naturally occurring or engineered for practical purposes. In fact, if it was naturally occurring and they isolated it and then bred ticks with it and let them go, that would be the easiest way to, pump up the lab-grown meat industry. And I really do think that's what we're talking about here. But let me show you what one of the scientists involved is saying. And thanks to Jesse on Fire for this short clip.
For example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life.
Wait, why would we do that? Just a question.
Thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
So that's the way that the cultish billionaire elitist people are looking at this. You're oxygen breathers and you hurt the planet, and that's their god. you know, and there's a verse right out of the Bible, for they worship the creation and had nothing to do with the creator. And that is literally what we're seeing here. They would rather save the dolphins and, you know, exterminate the babies. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. Now, I'm going to show you one more video from the Dollar Vigilante. Let's take a look.
So this forum post, and I'm going to put it directly on the screen, and I'm going to read it word for word. It says this, quote, "I work for a private charter company in Ontario, Canada. The company handles booking and chartering flights across Ontario mainly. We are paid to spread ticks by air. It happens twice a year, early spring and early fall. This year, we've been hired to do it earlier. The company receives the ticks in boxes. Each box contains millions of ticks. The aircraft used are generally single or dual prop aircraft, single pilot, and one other passenger that handles the dispersal. It pays a lot, and I mean a lot. Generally, the ticks are dispersed in several specific regions in Ontario, and it's always the same regions each and every year, thus far. Last spring, the ticks dispersed were mostly American dog ticks. This year, they are all deer ticks, supposedly specifically bred to withstand cold temperatures." End quote. So that post was from March 16th, 2 weeks before Snopes said that this story originated. All right, and it's pretty interesting. Here we have a whistleblower saying that they are paid to disperse ticks across Canada. Now, this sounds eerily familiar to what we're hearing about these boxes of ticks that are being found. And it begs the question, was this person telling the truth?
Oh, just in from Polymarket. New, scientists warn Canadians to prepare for a U.S. tick invasion this summer. I don't know how they'd know that.
So there's video, and I didn't bring it here. It's short, of a woman filming a helicopter with a rope coming off the bottom and a box about 12 inches long, maybe 5-6 inches high on the bottom of it, like setting it on the ground. And she goes up to inspect it, and it's millions of ticks. Okay, and they're putting it on private land. So don't tell me that this is only happening in government control land and it's a specific tick that has been bred so that it doesn't, it gets into the ecosystem and the animals don't get bit so much by ticks, because Bill Gates is into that too through a company. But I just, you know what? I'm not buying it. Alpha-Gal is up 10,000%. We got helicopters dropping off boxes of millions of ticks. Look, it doesn't take a genius to see what's going on here. And, there's an argument over whether Lyme's disease was made on Plum Island or whether it was a naturally occurring, because they have some ticks from the 20s that they went back and found Lyme's disease in. Look, at my point is, if nature created it and they boosted it up by using the army to put hundreds of thousands of ticks out into the environment, the practical difference doesn't matter for us. It's that they did it. That's the problem. I think there is a real conspiracy to make it so people can't eat meat and dairy and pump up the lab-grown meat market. And, look who we have at the center of it. And how he feels, everyone's heard the video about how he feels about, if we could just, reduce the population by, 3 billion or so, that we'd be so much better off. Anyway, thought this is important to bring to you. This is no joke. 10,000% rise. Protect yourself and your families. God bless, and have a wonderful day.